James pulled into the Home Depot parking lot on a Saturday morning behind a pickup truck that probably cost more than his first apartment. It was enormous, freshly washed, chrome running boards that caught the morning sun like a signal flare. The kind of truck that makes the person in the Honda next to it feel slightly apologetic about their vehicle. The driver stepped out in a company polo shirt, walked to the back, and loaded in 2 bags of mulch. That was it. 2 bags of mulch in a truck bed that could have fit a small bedroom set. The truck sat idle in the parking lot while the mulch rode home in approximately 11 cubic inches of a vehicle that had been engineered to haul construction equipment. James did not judge the guy. He had been that guy, or close to it, until a conversation with his brother-in-law 2 years earlier that changed how he thought about vehicle purchases permanently. His brother-in-law asked him one question, not what the monthly payment was, not whether the dealer had offered a good deal. The question was, what does the truck actually cost, total, complete, over the full loan term, including everything that happens after you drive off the lot? James did not know the answer. Most people who sign truck financing paperwork do not know the answer, and the gap between what a truck appears to cost and what it actually costs is the subject of this video. Let's start with the number on the sticker, because the sticker is already doing something misleading. The average transaction price for a new full-size pickup truck in 2026 is approximately $66,000. That is not the loaded luxury trim with the panoramic sunroof and the massaging seats. That is the average, the price the typical buyer actually pays when you add up all the transactions across all the trims. The $50,000 truck is, at this point, the responsible entry-level option. It is the trim where the salesman says something like, "This is the practical choice," and he means it. A base trim F-150, Silverado, or Ram 1500 in 2026 sits between $47,000 and $50,000 before taxes, dealer fees, and the creative line items that appear on financing paperwork, like invasive species. By the time you have agreed to the responsible truck, you have agreed to $50,000. The median American household income is approximately $84,000 annually before taxes, which means the average American household is being invited to spend roughly 60% of their entire pre-tax annual income on a single vehicle. A vehicle that by the end of year 1 will be worth considerably less than what was paid for it. This is the first number nobody says out loud at the dealership, not because the salesman is hiding it. He will tell you the purchase price if you ask, but because the conversation is never framed this way. It is always framed as the monthly payment. The monthly payment is the most effective financial sleight of hand in consumer retail. It is the number that makes a $66,000 purchase feel like a reasonable Tuesday decision. And the auto industry has refined it into an art form over decades. Here's how it works. The average new auto loan in 2026 runs close to 70 months. For trucks specifically, loans stretching to 84 months, 7 full years, now represent a substantial and growing share of all truck financing. The extended term does one thing. It reduces the monthly payment to a number that sounds manageable in a showroom. Let us run the actual calculation for a $50,000 truck with zero down, because most buyers do not have $10,000 sitting available for a down payment, at a current average interest rate of approximately 7%, financed over 84 months. The monthly payment comes to approximately $755, under $800 a month. The salesman nods. That seems fine. Over the life of that loan, the buyer pays approximately $63,000 for a truck that cost $50,000. $13,000 in interest, roughly the price of a reliable used compact car, paid to the bank in exchange for the convenience of spreading the purchase across 7 years. By month 12, the truck is worth approximately $40,000. The loan balance is approximately $46,000. The buyer is $6,000 underwater on a vehicle they've owned for 1 year, and the loan has 6 more years to run. None of this appears on the window sticker. The window sticker is not required to tell you what the truck will actually cost. Only the monthly payment, the most optimistic number in the entire transaction, gets featured in advertising, showroom conversations, and the paperwork the salesman slides across the desk with a pen already in hand. The loan payment is only where the expense begins. James's brother-in-law had walked him through the complete monthly cost of truck ownership, and the number was significantly larger than the payment alone. Insurance on a new $50,000 pickup runs approximately $180 to $200 monthly. Fuel for a full-size truck averaging 18 miles per gallon across 15,000 miles per year at current prices runs another $250 to $300 monthly. Routine maintenance, oil changes, brake service, filters averages roughly $90 monthly when amortized across the year. Tires for a full-size pickup are not interchangeable with standard car tires. A replacement set runs between $800 and $1,600 installed, needed approximately every 4 years, which adds another $30 to $35 monthly when spread across the ownership period. Registration and annual fees add another $70 to $90 monthly, depending on the state. Added together, the loan payment, insurance, fuel, maintenance, tires, and registration for a $50,000 truck total approximately $1,300 to $1,400 monthly, not the $755 payment. The full cost of keeping the truck on the road and legally operated is nearly double the loan payment alone, $1,400 monthly, $16,800 annually, for 7 years. James almost made this purchase 2 years ago. He was 34, earning $78,000 annually in a project management role, and he had been approved for the financing. Approved. The dealer had run his credit, looked at his income, and determined that the monthly payment was within acceptable parameters for his financial profile. His neighbor Derek made the same purchase at the same time. Same age, similar income. Derek was earning $82,000 combined with some overtime. Derek signed the 84-month loan, put nothing down, and drove home in a truck that the entire street admired. Derek's household budget after the truck looked like this: rent at $1,800, groceries and household expenses at $700, utilities at $300, the truck all in at $1,400, and childcare for his 2 kids at $1,100. Combined take-home after taxes was approximately $5,200 monthly. Total committed expenses, $5,300, before Derek bought a single thing that was not already scheduled to leave his account. Derek is not a reckless person. Derek is a person who was approved for a loan and interpreted approval as affordability. Those are not the same calculation. The bank's approval reflects its assessment of whether Derek will make the payments. It does not reflect any assessment of whether making those payments leaves Derek with a financially stable life. James, after his brother-in-law's conversation, ran the same numbers and decided against the truck. He bought a 4-year-old Toyota Tacoma in cash for $17,000 from a private seller. It had 112,000 miles on it and all-terrain tires. It ran the same errands, it fit the same parking spaces, it cost him approximately $600 monthly all in, including insurance, fuel, and maintenance. The difference between Derek's $1,400 monthly and James' $600 monthly was $800 per month. James put that $800 into a broad market index fund starting in January of the same year. $800 monthly invested in a diversified index fund at historical average market returns of approximately 8% annually. Over 20 years, the span between James's mid-30s and mid-50s, that monthly contribution compounds to approximately $470,000. Not $1 million, not a retirement on its own, but nearly $500,000 built from the monthly delta between a new truck payment and a used truck payment, directed consistently into an investment account rather than a dealership's financing department. James did not give up truck ownership to build that. He gave up the new truck, the version with the chrome running boards and the factory warranty and the smell of fresh plastic that fades within 6 months anyway. He kept transportation, he kept utility, he kept the ability to haul things, which he does occasionally, in the Tacoma that has never once complained about the task. Derek, 5 years into his 84-month loan, is approximately 60% through the payment schedule. His truck is worth considerably less than his remaining loan balance. He cannot sell it without bringing cash to the transaction to cover the gap. He is not trapped in a catastrophic sense. The payments are manageable enough that life continues, but the flexibility is gone. The margin is gone. The $800 monthly that could have been directed somewhere else has been directed consistently and automatically to the financing company. The question in the title deserves a direct answer, so here it is. Under the traditional financial guidelines that existed before extended loan terms normalized the purchase for households that cannot comfortably sustain it, putting 20% down, financing for no more than 4 years, keeping total transportation costs under 10% of gross income, the household that can afford a $50,000 truck needs to be earning approximately $140,000 to $150,000 annually. They need roughly $10,000 available for a down payment. They need to be able to absorb a monthly payment closer to $900 on a 48-month loan, which is the term that actually aligns the depreciation curve with the payoff schedule, rather than leaving the buyer underwater for 5 of the 7 years. And they need to carry that payment alongside insurance, fuel, and maintenance, without those combined expenses representing more than 10% of their gross income. That profile describes approximately the top 15% of American household earners, not the top 1%, not the wealthy in any dramatic sense, but solidly upper-middle-income households, dual-income professionals, people in senior technical or management roles, small business owners with stable revenue. The households actually purchasing new trucks at the highest rates are predominantly earning between $60,000 and $100,000 annually, exactly the income range where the purchase becomes financially destabilizing, where the extended loan term is not a preference but a requirement to make the payment fit the budget, where the gap between approved and affordable is widest and most consequential. The mathematics of truck ownership in 2026 are interesting to examine, but they do not fully explain why people buy trucks that the math says they cannot comfortably afford. The reason is that the truck is not primarily selling transportation. It is selling identity, a specific version of the kind of person you would like other people to see when you pull into a parking lot. Capable, self-sufficient, someone who could handle things if things needed handling, even if things have not needed handling recently and may not for the foreseeable future. This is not a criticism. The desire to project competence and readiness through a vehicle is deeply human and completely understandable. The problem is that the specific version of this identity being marketed, rugged, working, practical American values, is now packaged in a product priced like a luxury item and financed through terms that historically would have been considered aggressive even for luxury purchases. The truck has become a performance, an expensive, depreciating, fuel-consuming, $1,400 monthly performance. And the audience for whom the performance is staged, other drivers, the neighborhood, the colleagues, and the parking structure, forgets about it approximately 45 seconds after it occurs. James still drives the Tacoma. It has 160,000 miles on it now, which means it is approximately halfway through its useful life. It does not impress anyone in parking lots. It carries mulch, camping gear, furniture from Facebook Marketplace, and occasionally James's 2 kids in the back seat without complaint. The $470,000 compounding in the index fund does not impress anyone either because nobody can see it. It sits in an account, growing quarterly at a rate that requires no attention and no maintenance and no fuel. Before the next vehicle purchase, run the full number, not the monthly payment. That number is designed to make the purchase feel affordable. The full number, total interest paid over the loan term, plus insurance, plus fuel, plus maintenance, plus the opportunity cost of what the monthly delta between that vehicle and the next most reasonable option would have become if invested consistently over the years the loan runs. That calculation takes 30 minutes. Nobody at the dealership will offer to run it with you, but the number it produces is the only honest answer to the question of whether you can actually afford the truck, or whether you have simply been told that you can, which is a different thing entirely. The bravest financial decision available in a dealership is not negotiating the best possible rate on a truck you cannot comfortably afford. It is doing the math, looking at the chrome, and deciding that your retirement account is more important than what you drive to get there.